you've decided to go out and purchase a banjo. You've got it home, you've unzipped it from the bag, you've put it on your knee, you put your neck strap on, and now you're sat there wondering, now what? Well, first of all, what on earth was you thinking purchasing a banjo? What was going through your mind? Are you going through a midlife crisis? What is this thing that you just bought? This alien instrument? You know, what is it? It's like half drum, half guitar. It's got this big frying pan thing here. You know, this confusing piece of kit. And you bought it, and now you're trying to understand what to do with it. So if you're already thinking about, you know, how much is this banjo worth, and how much am I going to get for it if I don't succeed, and how long is it going to take to learn, and am I going to progress, and am I going to learn how to play any songs? If these thoughts are already going through your mind, just ignore it. You know deep in your soul why you decided to purchase a banjo. And you know why you want to learn. You want to learn it because it's cool. So, if you're interested in learning, maybe check out my website, banjoadventures.com. I can teach you how to play for less than £2 a week. I've got an online classroom with quite a few students in it now who are all learning together from all over the world. And we're learning a style called Clawhammer, also known as Frailing, Overhand. It all comes under this umbrella of a rhythmic technique that uses the right hand without any fingerpicks, and using the back of the fingernail, the middle fingernail, we can create music using our 5-string instrument. So if you ever looked at a banjo, you know, what comes to your mind straight away? It's like half drum, half guitar. You've got 5 strings, you've got all these bolts and brackets that go around the edges there, you've got weird rods that stick through the back, and you've got this thing here that pokes out the middle, and then you've got your 4 strings. And it's all very confusing at first, but if you obviously imagine that the banjo is designed to be played, it's a two-handed instrument, and it is designed to be played with 2 hands. So if you imagine just for a moment that our hands have eyeballs built into them, our right hand would only see this. So as far as our right hand is concerned, all our right hand can see is 5 strings, and that's that. So using a specific strumming pattern with our right hand, called the basic Frailing strum, we strum the strings in a certain way to create the banjo-y sound that you heard at the beginning, which sounds like this. So I'll demonstrate how to do that strumming pattern in just a moment. But then if you look at our left hand, if we had an eyeball on our left hand, all that our left hand could see is this. Now if you look at the picture I've just put on the screen, you'll notice I've modified it a little bit, and you'll see that I've actually removed all the frets from the 5th fret downwards, and I've also removed the 5th string. And the reason why I've done that is because as a beginner banjo player, we don't really need to venture much beyond the 5th fret, because so much stuff can happen just within these first 5 frets. So when you get better at playing the banjo and you get beyond the basics, then you can start venturing beyond the 5th fret and doing some funky stuff along the scales and all that kind of good stuff. But for now, just to get up and running and learning a few songs, we don't really need to go beyond the 5th fret. So if you look at your banjo slightly differently, obviously 2 hands are going to be working together, but at the same time they're going to be working independently. Now for the first part of this style of playing, you want to get very comfortable with the right hand strumming pattern. It's also been known as the bum ditty pattern, because if you listen to it when I play it, it makes a bum ditty sound. Bum, bum ditty bum ditty bum ditty bum ditty bum ditty bum ditty. And the unique thing about that pattern is it creates not only the melody, but the rhythm, the harmony, and the drive. So our thumb keeps that drive going. And our thumb sometimes hits the banjo head as well, so it creates almost like a percussion drum sound. So what we want to do first of all is we just want to get comfortable with this right hand technique. Now, obviously to go from day one, which is today, to go from nothing to being able to go with really good timing and consistency and volume, it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take possibly weeks, even months to get fully comfortable doing that. So before we become talented, competent banjo players, and before we become artists, if you will, and being able to do that, before we can do all that, we need to become robots. Only for a little while, just until we get this technique down and comfortable, and it almost has to become second nature. As second nature as, you know, writing your name or walking through a doorway. When you walk through a doorway, you don't stop and analyse the door and look at the height and the width, and then you make an assessment to think, oh, will I fit through it or won't I fit through it? Just by looking at a door, you know that you can get through that door. It's the same as this. It requires no thought. At first, you might find yourself doing this. Okay, but to get from doing that to being able to do this takes time, and it requires effort and repetition and practice and rest, and it requires that over and over and over and over again until that becomes a thoughtless exercise. We need to make that right hand technique go from being a conscious effort, and it needs to become an unconscious action. And the reason for that is all of our brain power and our thoughts needs to be focused on what our left hand is doing. Because the left hand is going to be doing more complicated stuff than just... So that's why we want to get comfortable doing that. Eventually that, with our right hand, will become an automatic action, and all the brain power and our thinking can go into our left hand, and at some point singing as well. So let's start by creating our first noise on our brand new banjos. Now, if you imagine we are artists and our medium is the banjo to make our paintings, our right hand, our strumming hand, that is our paintbrush. And the action that I just showed you a minute ago, they are our brush strokes. Now, if you was learning how to play guitar, you start with a pick or a plectrum, a little piece of plastic, and you use that pick to strum the strings. Now, if you was learning 3-finger Scruggs style banjo, you'd have a set of these finger picks here, and then with them you'd use them to pick the strings. Just dropped it on the floor and it's gone under my chair, so that's gone. But yeah, so if you're learning 3-finger Scruggs style, you'll use finger picks and you'll create roll patterns. But with the Clawhammer style, we don't have picks and plectrums, we just use our fingernail. And that's a good thing, because we don't have to obviously buy the picks. We don't have to make sure we don't lose them. We've always got our hands and our fingernails. So you can just go from, you know, just grab your banjo without having to think about anything. You can just start playing. You don't have to worry about, you know, where are my finger picks? I've lost my plectrum. I need to buy a new one. So that's why I like Clawhammer, because you can just pick it up and start playing. So obviously we need to first of all build our paintbrush from scratch. So the way that I would explain you do this is, if you grab something thin and flat So I'll use my phone for this one. You could use like a credit card or anything that's that kind of shape. What you're going to do is, with your hand, your strumming hand, you want to create a claw. And that claw needs to be able to, if you watch, it needs to be able to grab that item. Like that. If you see how I'm grabbing that? And then once you're able to grab the item, the credit card or your phone, just remove your phone out of the way. And then you'll see that you're left with that kind of contorted shape in your right hand. And look at my thumb, how it sticks out. Now, at the moment, all my fingers are flat and in a line. And to play Clawhammer banjo, we want to use our middle finger to strike the strings. Now, the way to get the cleanest sound striking the strings is, if you see my hand there, what I'm going to do is just poke my middle finger out ever so slightly, and at the same time I'm going to tuck in my pinky and ring finger. So my middle finger now just protrudes a little bit. Now there is still a chance that my index finger is going to get in the way. So what I'm going to do with my index finger is just stick it right out of the way. So I've ended up with a shape like this. So I started off like that, and I've ended up like this kind of shape. And the reason for that is, now my middle finger, if we just simply strum the strings just with your middle finger, you get a nice clean sound. Obviously my left hand isn't getting involved right now, and for a long time, to be honest, our left hand doesn't need to get involved. So if you just do that, it's a nice little strum. And then with your thumb, just rest your thumb on that fifth string. Forgot to mention as well, most banjos have this piece here, if you see that there. So that's called an armrest. So my forearm will sit on that armrest, so it can pivot on the armrest. Now, really, you want your hand somewhere in between the bridge and the end, but you can play up here if you want. I see a lot of people playing here, or you can play down here. Typically, the closer you get to your bridge, the more twangier it's going to sound. If you listen to this, and then now the bridge. So it just depends on what kind of sound you're looking for, but for now, we'll just rest our arm on the armrest, bring our hand somewhere halfway between there and there, and just strum. Now what I want you to do with your arm on the armrest is just put your thumb on your fifth string, and then closing that gap there between your thumb and your finger. If you see there, this gap here, this crab claw, you want to close that gap and then strum. Keep your thumb on that fifth string. And just do that a few times, just to get a feeling for it. Because on day one, all of this is alien to you. You know, you've never held a banjo before, and you're just trying to get a feel for it, just like driving a new car. You get into a new car, you know how to drive a car, but every car's different, and it takes a few weeks of driving your new car before you get a feel for it, before you know where everything is. So even though it's deceptively simple, you know, it's only 5 strings. Just getting used to doing this is something that will take time. So what I want you to do now is do your strum, and see how you've got your thumb on that fifth string there. Just pluck it with your thumb. Just do that on its own for now. Just pluck in that fifth string with your thumb, and then do a strum and then thumb. Just work on that for now. And if you find yourself having to look down and stare at your hand and really focus on what you're doing, that's fine. But just listen to what it is you're doing, and just get a feel for where your strings are, and try and keep the volume the same. because this is our paintbrush, and just creating that shape alone is going to become, it's going to be a problem at first. You know, it might feel a bit unnatural. Sometimes it's good to just do that. Take your hand off, give your hand a bit of a wiggle, and then without having to obviously put your phone back in your hand, just create that shape again. And then do that 3 or 4 times. Take your hand off, give it a wiggle. And now we're doing it, we're just building up this sort of muscle memory, if you will, in our hand, of just having this as a natural action that we can fall back on. Because the next evolution of this is we're going to take that and we're going to hammer on a string first, but we'll do that on the next video. So just for now, just work on that. And all we're doing, we're just building up that feeling of our arm being there and where our hand needs to be. And just creating that sound. So I mentioned before that our right hand is our paintbrush, the banjo is our canvas, and the actions that our right hand does, that's our brush strokes. And if you imagine our left hand, the chord shapes that we make with our left hand, they are the colours for the painting that we're going to create at some point down the line when we start making songs. So typically your banjo's tuned to open G, and that's your first chord. You know, that could be red, yellow, green, blue, black, white, purple, turquoise. All these different colours, they make up the songs that we play. Now obviously we don't need to learn every single chord that there is to play, but all those chords I just played then all happened within the first 5 frets. So once you learn the basic right hand Frailing strum and 3 chords, you unlock thousands and thousands of really great banjo songs. And then obviously the more chords you learn, the more opportunities and songs it opens up for you. So yeah, if you found that video useful, just let me know. Obviously give it a like, and if you're interested in learning how to play banjo for less than £2 a week, you can come and join my Banjo Adventures Discord community. I'm teaching people from all over the world how to play the banjo together, and it's a really beginner friendly, no ego, you know, everyone's welcome classroom. It's online, and in it you've got my help, unlimited one-to-one coaching, and I can help you to learn how to play the banjo from scratch. It's all brand new, and I've only just started having a go at teaching people, so hopefully this first lesson has given you a taster of what I can do to help you learn the banjo. And if it's something that you're interested in, obviously just come and check out the website. It's banjoadventures.com. And check out my other videos on this YouTube channel, because I've got lots of really good beginner friendly stuff. So if you are just starting, or if you've just got your banjo today, or even if you've not got a banjo yet and you're looking to start playing, obviously just check out my channel. I've got lots of stuff on there, and yeah, just give it a like and a comment, and if you found it useful, let me know, and hopefully I will see you on the next video.